Good morning again. As usual, I'm out with my dog. There's Gizmo. Yeah, go on. So today I thought I'd do a bit of a thank you, because this evening I am attending the Moray and Banffshire Heroes Awards dinner night, black tie event. Looking forward to that. Not done that in a little while. Get to go and have a bit of a night out with the missus. Let her get dressed up and all that. She loves it, and it's opportunity to get away from the kids for a rare occurrence. Got to have a date night now and again. But yeah, I've been nominated as a Community Hero of the Year, I think is the title, if I've got it right. Don't get me wrong, I haven't won it. I am a finalist, and I'm aware it went to public vote, along with two other very much deserving candidates as well. I know one of them personally as well. Actually used her to help with my marketing of my company when I first started and building the website. So yeah, kudos if she's watching. But yeah, thank you very much for the nominations. Thank you very much for the votes. Hopefully I've got some. I won't know till later. But yeah, just grateful to be there. Like I said, it's an opportunity to enjoy some time with the wife. Gizmo. 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 Go on. Little bugger just hiding behind me. Got to keep an eye out. Don't want him dropping any business on the path. Nobody will like me if he does that. Anyway, but yeah, so I'm really grateful for the opportunity. We don't get many opportunities to get some time together, and I'm looking forward to it. So, and I think I know some of the people going. It'll be nice to catch up and have a chin wag, let her hair down a little bit. But I thought I'd maybe just try and share some of the things I try and do, because I don't advertise a lot of it, and I don't do it for any recognition per se. But it's I think this links back to the topic of resilience and how to maintain resilience. I think one of the key skills I think that can be learned and practiced is time management and how to prioritise. Because I often hear people tell me they're busy, they're too busy to do things and whatever, but yet they can spend how long doom scrolling, sat on their asses on the sofa, watching some crap on the telly for hours at a time, but yet they're too busy. Or you get people that are really busy doing various tasks that in reality could be delegated, or deprioritised because there's something more important than he's doing. Procrastination, it's a real thing. Not a good thing either. I'm as guilty, don't get me wrong, but a lot of the things that I do are purely because I seem to have a knack for time management and prioritising. I don't just take the closest crocodile, so to speak. I look at what needs to happen. I look at if you think about the second, third, and fourth order effects. The what, the so what, then what, now what. If something happens, what's going to be the impact of that? The immediate impacts. You make a decision and make a choice and do something in response to that initial action. What's going to be the impact of that? And then further down the line, what will be the further impact, essentially? So that's how I look at things. So, for example, one of the things I do is I look after I do the area organising for Poppy Scotland within my village. So I go around putting all the buckets out in the shops and at the school and the nurseries and so on and so forth. I do a bit of bucket rattling at the local market and things like that. Take the kids out, get them involved, teach them from a young age to give back and all that kind of jazz, selfless commitment and all that. But because that's a ways off as remembrance. But I've had an idea suggested to me to do a bit of a poppy display in the village. And it's not something I've done before. I'm not a particularly creative person. I'm a very sort of logically minded individual. So when it comes to problem solving and stuff like that, I'm in my element. But when it comes to trying to design something, I'm a bit out of my depth. So that's where my wife comes in. She's very good at it. But so we make a really good team. Gizmo, go on. Good boy. There he goes. But I've got an idea to create a bit of a display. I've got the vision in my head of a sea of red, purple, white and black, because obviously they're the different colours of poppies. The main colours of poppies, I should say. Red is obviously the one we know well. That's to signify the blood lost on the battlefield by everyone, World War One, and so on. White is to signify peace and the show against a glorification of war and commemoration to all lost lives, all civilians as well as military. Purple is to commemorate animals that have been lost in war, service animals, horses, dogs, you name it, so on and so forth. And then black is for the Caribbean, the Commonwealth soldiers, all the sort of groups outside of the mainland, so to speak. It's because they often get forgotten about, which I don't think is right. So that's what I've got envisioned. If you imagine like a bit of a field with lots of little stems in it and all these different coloured, these red, white, black and purple poppies just spread out across this little field. And if I can get a lot of the village to get involved and knit all these poppies of different shapes and sizes, we can then put some kind of bamboo stem on them or something like that, and then just plock them down everywhere. And then, all being well, we can get people to sponsor a poppy, and in theory they could go and plant it themselves. If I can try and find a couple of those upright silhouettes of soldiers, those that you see about the place, I'll try and get a couple of them as well. Gizmo, go on. But that's the idea. Not something I've done before, but I'm trying it, so we'll see how we get on. Watch this space. But yeah, planning ahead for that, because come that period, I've obviously got to run around doing all the buckets. I've got to run around doing all the other organising. I also organise the post church service get together on Remembrance Sunday. So there's lots of little things to think about. So I'm thinking ahead, if that makes sense. So, and that's what I tend to do with all the tasks. If I look at what's coming and then prioritise it based on what I need to do next, if that makes sense. What will the impact of that if I do it or if I don't do it, and so on. Like I said, back to the third and fourth order effects. When it comes to resilience, I find that to be a very useful skill, because if you can manage your time, you can take a real deep look into what you're really doing with your time. Are you spending too long on the screens doom scrolling? Are you sat on the bog for longer than you need to be? Are you sat having tea and biscuits too many times in the day? Look at what you're doing with your time and think, what could I do differently? Because that time could be better used for investment, right? A word I do think we get very wrong, because when we say the word investment, we think money, finance, stock market, blah, blah, blah. But in reality, investment, in my humble opinion, is more about the consistent investment of energy and focus over time. The byproduct of that is money. The byproduct of that is performance. The resulting the result of what of that investment is the byproduct, if that makes sense. But your time is the most important one, because it's finite. You've only got so much of it. Energy, again, you've only got so much of it in your body, stored, or what you're eating. And your focus. You need to be somewhat deliberate in terms of what you spend your energy on and what you use your time for, if that makes sense. If you can focus it on the things that matter, the things that add value to your life, that investment will add up. I'm one of them that I don't believe in a perfect plan. I believe that a reasonable plan helps weather the chaos. And I only need a level of understanding to write that plan. So if I get a level of understanding, do what I need to, then I get another level of understanding to do what I need to next, those levels of understanding will add on top of each other and will ultimately compound, just like money in a decent bank account. You know, it'll gain interest, that interest will gain interest as well, and so on and so forth. 1 second. Gizmo, safe. Got to keep practicing these things. So the more we do it, the better we get. Don't we, young man? Hey? Hey? Good boy. Look at that, eh? Good boy. Look at that face. Yeah. Good boy. Gizmo, down. Good boy. Go. Would it surprise you to know that I was actually attacked by a dog when I was a kid? Always had that wariness around dogs. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't say I've been afraid of them per se, but I've always had that wariness. And I gave in finally when the wife said, "Let's get a dog." But I made a very clear condition that he would get him trained. Little did I know it would be me that'd have to be doing the one training him. But having never done it before, YouTube was my friend in that. Literally Googled, how do you teach your dog to sit? How do you teach your dog to lie down? How do you teach your dog to, to respond to the various different commands and so on? Just did it, repetition. We've got it to a point now where the treats are almost non-existent. He gets 1 or 2, all right, let's say half a dozen over a normal walk. So we're getting there. But yeah, again, that is a good example of what I was just talking about. Consistent investment of energy and focus over time. And the result of this particular, wherever he's gone, where is he? There he is that we've made progress. Haven't had a clue what I'm doing the entire time, mind you, just got a level of understanding, did what I need to, practiced it, got another level of understanding, did what I need to, practiced it, and those levels of understanding just built up over time. 6 months later, I've got a reasonably well-trained dog. I say that loosely. Anyway, gone on for long enough now. Hopefully you'll gather that I'm doing these with some level of regularity. I'm going to keep doing them on topics that I think are important to resilience and helping people to develop their personal resilience, more importantly, because I do think that there is too much. It's too easy to blame our circumstances, blame other people, blame organisations, blame anything else but ourselves for what we could do differently, or how we could respond to a challenge. Okay, shit happens. Once it's happened, it's too late. You need to move on. So what can you do? How can you respond to that challenge? And that's what I want to try and help people to see and help people to do, and ultimately move forward with their lives in a positive way. I hope that makes sense. Anyway, have a great day, and I will catch you on the next one.